Hello humans, Master Dinner Flex here, bringing you low quality content you deserve, and today I'll be going over this. You can already tell what it is. So the new set that's being announced, and all the new cards that are being announced on the organization, man, they're just so insane. So I was like doing a bunch of combos and combos and combos and whatever and stuff. But something I think I've told you guys before is that when it comes to mid-range controller stun decks, there's no reason to ever do a combo tutorial because these decks aren't performing anything insane in the context of negations or build-a-board. What they're instead doing is, like, they're very insane at playing out a long game and doing things very efficiently. And, Live Twins are very much a mid-rangey control deck. So I decided to do a deck profile on this. Now, a lot of people are under the impression that this Link 4 is good for them, but it doesn't change anything. And to you, I say you are an absolute fucking idiot. Because, let's actually just call out how much you don't understand how much this link changes. So let's look at Tri-Brigade. Let's look at the win condition of this deck. That is resolving Fractal and using Revolt on your opponent's turn for removal and a +1, and you are trying to do that every turn, right? That is the win condition of that deck. You are trying to play on your opponent's turn, do stuff very fair, just you're going to simplify the game state with a bunch of generic cards like hand traps and traps and like power spells like tactics or whatever stupid garbage you put in your deck. And that's the best deck of this format. That from results alone, this is the best deck of the format. Now let's put into context how many starters Tri-Brigade has in its purest variant. 3 Fractal, 3 Tenki. And the other starters are only half starters. Like if you open Kit or Nerval, it doesn't actually get you there unless Karaz is in your hand. So effectively, truly only 6 1-card starters and a bunch of random half starters. And that's the best deck of the format. And remember, its win condition is to take a card away from your opponent and to give you a card. That's this deck's win condition, is to loop that effect over and over again. So 6 1-card starters. Let's look at Live Twins now. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So it's 2.5 times more 1-card starters than Tri-Brigade. Next, the starters themselves are not the dead ends. Like, Kit and Nerval are equal to Fractal and Live Twins because both Lilla and Kissy are both fractals, right? Because they're the same effect. So the dead ends of your deck are less relevant. And then finally, let's go over the win condition of Live Twins. That is resolving a +1 and an interaction on your opponent's turn, and you are cycling that every turn. Oh, but are you not sold yet? Well, here's the difference. Instead of Revolt doing every time on your opponent's turn, these cards activate every turn. Once on your turn, once on your opponent's turn. Oh, you're not sold yet? Because, oh, Shurig is non-targeting removal. Oh, man, it's like this card is non-targeting removal. Gee, it's almost like this deck's win condition is the same as Tri-Brigade, except it achieves it easier, better, more consistently, through hand traps better, and it's just going to do all that. It even has the same weaknesses where you're locked into specific link monsters, whereas Tri-Brigade is any of the Tri-types, this is into Fiends. Oh no, if only they didn't print an entire archetype of really powerful fiend monsters that can also help you draw cards. Um, Literally, if the moment we get this, Tri Brigade is going to have to change because it will just be a strictly worse this deck. So now that I've got that out of the way, and I'm getting these Tri Brigade cards out of the way, let's get into this deck. 3 Kissy, 3 Lilla. They have the same effect except the whatever attack-based effects. Those don't matter. And then for the extenders, we got 2 Frost and 1 Treat. So Frost is infinitely superior to Treat, obviously. So much so that it's actually better to draw Lilla than it is Kissy, because even if this just resolves, you're going to summon Frost. You're going to almost always summon the extenders if this can resolve. But, like, Lilla summoning Frost is way better than Kissy summoning Tree, because this card almost doesn't do anything. It, like, effectively doesn't have an effect. Its effect is, when your opponent attacks over a twin, you can banish it to make an attack on your opponent's field lose the, like, lose a evil twin attack stat, which is so terrible. This one, however, when your opponent searches a card, you draw a card. So, yeah. Like, this could have been a Sakuretsu armor and still be just way better. I really don't understand why this made this effect so bad. But you need both names of the extenders anyway, because if these get stopped, you need Trouble Sun to actually be relevant. So that's why we're playing Treat at all. You kind of have to play this card. And then for the mountain of hand traps, we got triple Ash Blossom, triple Ghost Bell, triple Nibiru, double Effect Veiler, and double Impermanence. So Nibiru's kind of interesting because you're saying, well, Nibiru's kind of iffy this format. This isn't for this format. We are getting this set and these cards in, like, October. And when you put it in the context of everything else in that set and how absolutely bonkers wild that set is within new insane combo decks, Nibiru is just good against pretty much all of them. It's actually even good against this deck, except if I get home, then it doesn't matter. Which is what I'm saying, because this deck used to die to a single hand trap. Now, some hands, it literally takes 3 hand traps to make me end on the setup anyway. Like, it's actually insane. So this deck is super resilient to hand traps now because of all this support. And since we have a bunch of 1-card starters, we're super resilient to hand traps, and we're trying to resolve a fair effect most of the time. You can just, like, you can just, like, you can play the same game that Tri Brigade's doing, which is, like, dumbing down the game state where a plus for you and a minus to your opponent is just game winning. And this is a better deck to do that with. But here's another cool interaction with Nibiru, is let's say you have Trouble Sunny on the field, and your opponent's just going off, they're kind of ignoring it, or they're, like, trying to see if they can bait it out. Once they get to the 5th summon, you can tribute Sunny for cost, like, finally. And then you chain Nibiru. And then, with Nibiru, you tribute their field, summon the Nibiru, then you revive Kissy and Lilla back, you draw a card and destroy their Nibiru token. Which is kind of insane. That is like, that's just game, honestly. So, anyways, yeah, triple Nibiru. It's actually not even only insane, but it's even insane in this deck, even if it wasn't that insane in the format. So, yeah. Spells, Secret Password. We're playing triple of it because it's 3 more copies of this and 3 more copies of this. This is Tenki. It just searches any other live twin monster, so if you need a starter, you can search one of these. If you need the extender, you can search for those. It also has a burn heal effect. It's definitely relevant, but I don't like that it has that, because people are going to be like, ew, you're only cheesing in time, but it's like, this deck is so hyper-aggressive. Your opponent would have to be trying to force time in order for time to happen. But I just don't like burn heal effects anymore because of the new time rules. Then we got Live Twin Home. It discards one to special summon a copy from the deck. So originally, this was actually a really bad extender for a while. Just because before this couldn't really be an extender going second. Because even if, like, oh, they stop you, but you have home so you can still play, you are still, like, playing with 1100 attack monsters going second, and they can just casually run this over, which is something you really don't want to do. And you can't be offensive with home when the only things you can summon are like 1100 attack monsters. You just really can't get there with this. But with this, Trouble Sunny just makes it much, much more aggressive. 3300 attack, can tag out in the battle phase to put 55 damage up. Like, this is just way better. It's actually so much better. And this deck is going to play so many hand traps, and I expect so many hand traps in the format we get this, that we should just, like, max out on this. Because even if they Nibiru you, like, let's say you go to end of main phase and they Nibiru you, you still get to play your main phase, so you'll keep this in hand your first turn, and then after you get a Nibiru token, activate this, discard a thing, summon whichever twin, usually Kissy, and then just make another Kissy kill, and you can cycle Lilith still, even after getting Nibiru'd. So that's, like, super cool. Then we got Triple Desires. I want to draw 2 cards. This deck also, in no universe, could play Prosperity, and it also just doesn't need to play Prosperity because it just has so many of the starters already that you can just play this and get 2 fresh draws. Try to draw into hand traps, which are non-searchables. Droplet, also very obvious, because of the interaction we were told about last year, where if they try to negate your twin normal summon, you can just chain this, send it away, summon the other twin starter, and it will summon the guy because you control no monsters. So that's a cool interaction. It's also just, like, a very aggressive hand trap in the sense that it helps you go second, but it's also a disruption when you do go first. And it can also just send twins to your graveyard to re-trigger them, so it's fine. Then one Called by the Grave. This could honestly just be anything. Honestly, this could actually just be anything. You could switch it out for Imperial Order. You can play Upstart Goblin. I don't know. Maybe a 15th hand trap. Like, it's fine, honestly. It's actually just fine. It is what it is. You can play it or you don't. It doesn't matter. And then I already mentioned permanents. And then last one is actually really interesting. It's Live Twin Challenge. So normally this was just being a reborn a lot of the time. So if they, like, negate your Kiss Kill on their turn, you could activate Challenge to revive the Lilith anyway. But now it's actually way more different because the effect to link summon on your opponent's turn is actually super relevant now. But let's put it in the context of when you get Nibiru, like I said earlier, but you have home and you extend to a Kissy. So when that Kissy revives Lilith, you get a pop. But now you're in a situation where they can run over your stuff. Well, with this, you can revive another random Kissy or Lila. If you revive a Kissy, you can get a Kissy Link, you can get a draw. Or you can just revive any of the dumb, like, starters. But then, you link summon your 2 links into Trouble Sunny, and now just attacking over your stuff isn't really the easiest to do now. And even if they have the chance, this can tag out back into your Link 2s again. So, yeah, just super solid. Its Link effect is actually super relevant now. For the side deck, obviously I don't know what we're going to have in the format when you finally get this. The only thing I will say is Dark Ruler No More, Red Reboot, and Anti-Spell are very interesting in the sense that they are ways to destroy your opponent's cards by making them not be able to activate. So what I mean by that is, like, Dark Ruler and Red Reboot, that kind of makes sense, because you, like, they get Dark Ruler rebooted, and then you make Zeus, or you can go, like, Kissy, Lila, pop their thing, make the link, tribute them back, and, like, banish the link to send another card they control. So you have, like, the context of that. But anti-spell, it's in reverse in the context of like going first instead, because if you just activate this when you're going first, they have to set all their spells, but they're setting all their spells in front of Lila, which will pop them. Like, it will pop one on your opponent's turn, then it will pop one on your turn, and then the Link 4 will send another one. So if they set 3 spells, they lost all 3 spells. So that's just absolutely an insane interaction. And now, you've heard me say sending with Trouble Sunny, but I'm not playing the level 8, because there's no fucking universe where you're playing the level 8 for any reason ever. So the level 8... The level 8's effect is that it's a really, really bad evenly matched that you have to summon by attributing 2 Link monsters. But it can summon itself from the graveyard, which is the only, like, cool thing about it. But it's actually just so terrible that there's no universe where I want to play it. Because even when I was playing it, it was literally being a Garnet for Trouble Sunny, because I wouldn't revive it from the graveyard. I literally never summoned it with its own effect. I literally just kept Nightmare cycling and summoning more twins, summoning more Link monsters with the Link monsters I had on field. So why was I even sending this? So what you do instead is you send an evil twin on field to use that effect, which is actually fine since these guys just revive each other. So it doesn't matter. But yeah, Trouble Sunny, this is the one that kind of really changed how this deck works. It's a Link 4, requires 2+ monsters, including an Evil Twin monster, aka just both of these. And then it's a quick effect, you contribute it to special summon Kissy Kill and Lila monster from your graveyard. That doesn't target, so even if they DD Crow one of your Links, you still revive 2 monsters. So that's pretty cool. And then you can banish it from your graveyard, send an Evil Twin monster from your hand deck or face upon the field to the graveyard, send one card on the field to the graveyard. My bad. So it's non-targeting removal on top of being a 3300 like disruption and draw. So that's pretty cool. Then we got Phoenix, Unicorn, Griffin, all nightmares, so you can summon if you're fiend locked. And Griffin's kind of nice, mainly with like the side deck, or if you like seen a droplet or impermanence, you can reset it back, get a draw. It's also got a nice floodgate effect. Abomination's actually a little worse now, because originally we were making it in like the context that we didn't have a Link 4. Now we do, so its destruction effect is still very, very, very good, but it's definitely not something you're making every game anymore, which is kind of interesting. Lingeribo, so if you resolve the starter and have an extender, you can have trap negation on top of that, so that's pretty cool. Access code, I don't even think you play this because I have never summoned it. Literally never summoned it. I don't even know what universe you can summon this, or even what situation this is even summonable. So much that I think you should cut this for like a Link Karibo for dinosaurs. I don't know, like that. Like there are 13 extra deck monsters that I feel like you need to play, and then the other 2 I just don't know. And like my 14th and 15th were Lingeribo and Access Code. Lingeribo is actually pretty good, but Access Code definitely should probably be either a 3rd Kissy or a 3rd Lila, just so you have 5 if the game goes really grindy. Which is like the same reason I'm playing this at 3, is if the game goes really grindy. And then for the Zeus package, Centauria and Zeus. Yep. That's about it. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I've given you a good understanding of like this deck once we get that link. It's very like what happens a lot in Yu-Gi-Oh is when we first get a deck and it's like kind of terrible, people shrug it off that it's always going to be terrible. And to their credit, a lot of the time that is the situation, because we'll like get a deck not very good, and like they'll get like some support here and there, but it doesn't matter. But this one, ever since their initial release, they have been consistently getting a good card each set, like exponentially getting better each time. And it got to the point where once we got the Tenki, I was like, they are planning something. This Tenki was very powerful. Like ignorantly powerful for the deck. I think if they just get a strong Link, it is going to just actually make this deck good and consistent. And then they got a strong Link that made this good and consistent. And it also let us play 3 home, so we got to be more consistent. Like this, it's actually just insane. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for watching. Remember what I said yesterday. Promote all my stuff. That's what you guys are here for, to make me money. But yeah, thank you all for watching. And remember, Master Dinnerflax will take your soul.